Hello, everyone. Welcome to Emerging Possibilities 2026 competition announcement tonight. I'm Sarai, Editor in Chief of Emerging Possibilities, and I'm your host for tonight. Firstly, I wish to acknowledge that Pen and Possibility and Emerging Possibilities are developed on the Menang Noongar lands of Kurrabub, and that our authors create their works across this land. And we wish to offer our respect to all storytellers and custodians of this great land. A little note on housekeeping. This event is being recorded and we will provide it to those who are not able to make it tonight. I will directly contact the winner and the highly commended during this week once it's announced. If you have any questions about the processes or the decisions that are made tonight, please do not contact the judges, but you are very free and welcome to email me directly at Pen and Possibility. You will have my contact information. To celebrate the publication of Emerging Possibilities Treasury Anthology 1, Pen and Possibility has created the Emerging Possibilities 2026 competition, which we're very excited about. Every work that is featured in the anthology was eligible for this competition and has been considered under one of three categories: short story, poetry, or creative nonfiction. We had the great honour of having each category judged by outstanding Australian creators. Winner and highly commended of short story is selected by writer Jodie McAllister. Winner and highly commended poetry is selected by Giles Watson. And winner and highly commended creative nonfiction is selected by performer Felicie Millay. We're going to begin this in the reverse order of what I've just read out. And I'll introduce you to your judges so they can announce the winner and the highly commended of their category. So, presenting creative nonfiction will be Felicie Millay, two-time TEDx speaker, award-winning poet. Felicie Millay is an internationally renowned spoken word artist, speaker, and educator. They're a global advocate for women and LGBTQI plus rights and a fierce voice for the power of authenticity and courage as a social change tool. Felicie is the founder of Melbourne's acclaimed NFP organisation and women's spoken word event, Mother Tongue Poetry. Felicie won Reciter of the Year 2022 at the National Folk Festival and positioned 5th globally whilst representing Melbourne for Dublin UNESCO City of Literature's Slamovision in 2025. Here is Felicie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Felicie. Thank you, Sarai. And it is my absolute honour to announce the winner and the highly commended for the creative nonfiction category. So the winner is Jackson Payne for Poppy's Passing. And this is what I wrote after reading this piece. There is a profound learning that can come when we allow small moments the honour of becoming big moments. And this piece, which could have been a passing moment between two people, experienced and left where it was, echoed its way through my heart. I was taken by the juxtaposition between the blunt coarseness of the moment, the cigarettes, the darkness, death, addiction, and finality, against the softness and nuance of poetry and potential. It highlights the power of candid conversations and connections and the power they can have in disrupting the patterns of intergenerational trauma. On one hand, it allowed me a gateway into an intimate and very personal interaction between a father and a son. On the other hand, I felt a rippling in a greater illusionary fortress of what we are sold to be masculinity, a window past isolation and stoicism, a small opportunity for healing, not just for the characters, but for the reader too. And I would like to also announce the highly commended award winner, who is Tony, I'm going to say this correctly, sorry, Tony Njoroge. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Tony Njoroge. The piece was called What's Un-African is Homophobia. And I really like being surprised by writing. I like it when writing kind of catches me off guard, and this piece really did that. surprised by massive narrative shifts, but what I love is small moments. And in this piece, there were many small moments in it that really took me. One line specifically was, homosexuals are like poetry. They are hated because they are not understood. It's such a simple line, yet it kind of wrenched its way through me, and I sobbed, and I wrote it down on my piece of paper beside me to keep with me because it lasted that well into my soul. So thank you so much for this piece.
Thank you so much, Felicie, and congratulations to Jackson and Tony. Presenting poetry will be Giles Watson. Giles resides in Albany, Kinjalling, Western Australia. He was librettist for Mima, a musical of war and friendship, performed at the Regal Theatre in Perth and Cadogan Hall in London, and editor of 10 Poems About Butterflies from Candlestick Press. His most recent poetry collection is Yunjidup, a wetland summer diary from Fremantle Press, which explores his relationship with a site of extraordinary biodiversity as he negotiates life with chronic fatigue. Here is Giles.
Hello, I'm Giles Watson, and I'm here to announce the winner and the highly commended entry for the poetry section of the Emerging Possibilities 2026 Anthology competition. The winner is Nobody Wants a Bony Grandma by Gemma Van Lernen. Nobody Wants a Bony Grandma is an absolutely wonderful poem, well deserving of winning the poetry competition. A delightful confidence in the shaping of poetic form helps us to appreciate the hugging of the amply proportioned grandma, and is likely to leave a great many readers sighing, "Yes, I remember that feeling." The poem blends humour with genuine affection, and there is a strong sense of movement in the layout of the poem, which suggests dashing into the grandma's arms and being held there. Lexically, in terms of word choices, in other words, the poem is very assured, appropriately colloquial, but also playing in its borrowings of words from French and its use of sound patterns to build the energy of the poet's praise for the moment of hugging. This all culminates in an absolutely beautiful, because it's so specific, description of physical contact and a round, fat middle to lay my hand unable to reach around, and the rise and the fall my cheek rest upon. By the time we reach the final word, held, it feels as though we have been inevitably heading there all along. The poem absolutely revels in the physical expression of grandmotherly love. It is heartwarming and so very true. Both of my grandmas were exactly like this. A really well-deserved winner, I feel. And highly commended is The Jungle by Taylor MacArthur. The Jungle earned highly commended because of its originality. There are shades of Angela Carter in this long but tightly constructed poem about the trauma of forced marriage. The extended metaphor, which portrays the marriage as an execution, narrated strikingly in the second person, is compelling and appropriately appalling, as is the way the flower imagery reaches a macabre conclusion. The poem shifts confidently between different rhythmic and rhyming structures, ties this to emotional truth, and lends considerable momentum to the narrative. This was a gripping poem. There were some very difficult decisions involved in the judging because all of the poems had particular merits. There was some beautiful atmospheric writing and some courageously confessional pieces. Some of these showed a powerful awareness of what it is like to live on Noongar land. And there was also some very beautiful writing which focused on particular objects and memories associated with them. Everyone who participated should feel encouraged to know that the standard was high, and I hope that you will continue to follow your poetic muse. It has been an absolute pleasure to judge this competition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Giles, and congratulations to Gemma and Taylor. Presenting short story will be Jodie McAllister. Dr. Jodie McAllister is an author and academic who lives in Melbourne. She has written 9 novels, most recently A Study in Sparkling, and 5 academic books alongside numerous other publications. She currently teaches creative writing and literary studies at Deakin University. Unfortunately, Jody couldn't make it tonight, so I will be announcing the winners on her behalf. The winner for Best Short Story is Gravities by Xilu Fu, and apologies if I've mispronounced that. The statement Jody made is as follows. Gravities is a wonderful example of A.L. Kennedy's claim that a short story is small in the way a bullet is small. It captures the intimacy of one fleeting night between two teens and the whole universe of possibilities that night encompasses all at once. This story doesn't try and do too much. While it takes on a grand cosmic concept, gravity, it understands that the true heart of the narrative is the connection between Lena and Kay. It's incredibly difficult to make an audience believe in the chemistry between two characters in a space as short as this one. But the rich portrait it paints of these characters, their history, and their uncertain future is achingly lovely and resonant. The sensory quality of the description is dreamlike, but it is made all the more so for being tethered to reality. This piece's internal gravity is what gives it its power. Congratulations, Xilu. For highly commended short story is awarded to Where the Marsh Keeps Things by Mackenzie Carmichael. Jody's statement is as follows. From the very first line, the use of language in this piece is striking. The portrait it paints of the marsh, a place that is patient, lying in wait, terrifying in its silence and unchangingness, is deeply evocative, a haunting image that will linger with the reader long after they've read the final words. We offer our thank you to Jody for judging the short story section, and congratulations to Xilu and Mackenzie. Congratulations, everyone. This is just a very short session to do our announcements. We are very, very proud of all of our writers. You are all amazing. Sorry, terrible slip of old teaching language there. The Emerging Possibilities Treasury Anthology 1 and the Emerging Possibilities 2026 competition has been supported by our Kickstarter. We've just been funded, which you as authors will all be aware of, but we would love to invite you to pledge and support the stretch goals, which will make this even better and more exciting. Thank you to our amazing judges. We were so lucky for them to offer up their time for no real reward other than our eternal gratitude to make very hard decisions from a collection of outstanding new and emerging writers' works. And of course, I want to thank all of our wonderful writers for the work that they do and for sharing it with Emerging Possibilities. We truly are honored to be able to publish your writing. I know you are all eagerly anticipating seeing your work in print with the anthology, and we will have more updates on that soon. I want you to have a wonderful night. And once again, a huge congratulations to our winners, Jackson, Gemma, and Xilu, and our highly commended Tony, Taylor, and Mackenzie. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic night and keep up the great writing.